Welcome to Rom Wills Money Matters, DIY business, jewelry making. Now this week I'm going to talk about DIY businesses, and DIY just means do it yourself. Now it can apply to like fixing stuff around your house, but a lot of times it applies to creating something on your own, an artisan type of business, do it yourself. Create something with your own hands and then sell it. Now, there are so many businesses I can talk about in that regard, but I'm just going to focus on 3 this week that actually makes pretty good for money. Now, 2 of them might be obvious. The third one, a lot of people don't think about it, but I'll get to that on Thursday. But the first one I'm going to do is jewelry making. Now, understand when I say DIY, you can get started in it for very little capital. Very little capital. You don't have to buy some big old building, something like that, or get a lot of materials. Now, you're going to have to pay for some things, a few things. But shoot, to be honest, you could probably buy a lot of the materials at some local art store or something like that. Now, I'm not as familiar with jewelry making myself. I haven't got into it myself, but here's the interesting thing. It's big business. It's big business, period. Because think about something. You go to malls, you'll have several jewelry stores right next to each other, usually at the corner of a mall, if the mall is successful. You can always find stuff. There's always some type of store. Jewelry is important. But what a lot of people are liking and spending money on is the type of like specialty jewelry, and that, not necessarily some diamond or something like that. It could be of different rocks, different forms of rocks. It could be somebody putting together a chain or something like that, little artwork, something of that nature. Like I said, I'm not big into it, but it makes money. In fact, I remember when I was doing vending at this vendor's market where I had my bookstore, my book stand, the young lady next to me, she would be making jewelry right there. And I'm going to tell you what, it can make some money. There's some people who make jewelry now, they're making 6 figures. They specialize in making jewelry and they advertise it. Now, see, here's the beauty of it. It doesn't take that much to get started. And of course, you still work intensive. You got to make something for every person. But actually, you can do that, make some specialty jewelry, or you can make a whole bunch of pieces and then you get into vending. The vending market is picking up. It's picking up now because they're making all this stuff from home. The whole artisan economy, hands-on economy is picking up. And I would even say, and I probably need to do a separate video about it, it's becoming a major movement, a major movement. I mean, it's already, it's already in the billions anyway. And then it's also global, but I think it's going to get even bigger. And one of the bigger things about it is just the jewelry. Think about it. Everybody has something. Somebody had to make these pieces. That's jewelry, And it's not even talking about getting into watchmaking. That's a little bit more complicated. But just making basic pieces like this, sell it for a little bit of money. In fact, if you go to like a lot of local malls, they want to have like a lot of the kiosks. What are they selling? That type of jewelry. Now think about something. Let's follow me. Okay, you spend a little bit of money. Start making the stuff. And of course, that could actually be another job, just training people how to make it. In fact, just a quick tangent, just an artisan, train people on how to make stuff by hand. It probably already exists if I look for it. But it could get even bigger in a time when people are being laid off from major jobs. But anyway, think about the jewelry though. Okay, you make the pieces, start vending someplace. Also get some social media, advertise it. Like I follow a couple jewelry makers on IG, follow on IG, TikTok. Just share your stuff. Maybe even find some stores that sell it. You actually have stores that sell pieces like that. You can go there It's so many places, especially if you talk about more that I say artsy type, yoga, new agey type of stores like that. Oh, they're big on jewelry making, big on it. But anybody can buy it. Anybody doing some art festival stuff like that. And then of course you still have online, advertises the pieces online. In fact, a friend of mine actually got a bracelet from her. She made it. That's part of her thing. That's not her main thing, but she makes bracelets. Look, I'm gonna tell you what. You can make. The beauty of it is it's low overhead to get in, and you would just, as long as you have the training to actually do it. But it's a great example of something, because just by our nature, people always wearing some type of jewelry. That's why like the even bigger jewelry industry is so big. That's why you can find a jewelry store, you can find 4 in a mall right across from each other. Nobody's getting mad at each other. And shoot, technically watches are a part of jewelry. So, and there's a lot of watchmakers, And only thing is, it's all about the style with watches, but that's another conversation. But that's a do-it-yourself business. Indeed, the young lady who was making that stuff, she didn't even have any formal training, and she was putting together stuff. She didn't have any formal training. A lot of those things she was selling, she never had any formal training in it. I mean, she was making handbags, no formal training. And that's another one. I mean, there's so many I can mention. I could probably do like a different business for the rest of the month and still really probably go 3 or 4 months just doing that. But it's something to look into, and is what I wanted to present this week is just an example of some things. People always wear jewelry. Now, do you need it? No, it's not like food, clothing, and shelter. But it's something people like, because jewelry of any time, handmade jewelry especially, it says something, it means something. It means something to people. It's more of a, of course it's something that you can wear, and it's part of your style and everything. But usually if you have something, it means something like significant. So it's something to really look into. It's something to look into, possibly even look into how to make the jewelry. And then, like I said, once you start making it, you can probably start with some friends, set up at different like vendor markets in your area. Like a lot of farmers markets, they'll have like just regular vendors there. There's always something, and you can just go with that. But it's something to look into. Because as I said in one of my last videos, can't remember which one, I'm doing so many. I'm gonna have to get more back into like making business suggestions. Because with many people being laid off, people gonna have to get more creative. People gonna have to get way more creative. And that's one way of being creative, making jewelry. Other things as well, but that's just one example. As my friend did, and we still keep up with each other. She makes handbags. And especially for ladies always gonna carry a handbag. So anyway, something to really look into. And y'all know the deal. Let's go make that money.